All right, and we're back for another episode of the Sports Department Podcast. We haven't done this one in a while. We're talking some football. We're recapping Week 17 of the NFL season. Past years, this would be it. This would be the last week, and we're getting ready for playoffs. But no, the NFL added one more week. So we're just going to recap this week, our picks, and then we're going to eventually do a Week 18 podcast as well, probably, just because we should. We haven't really done that too much of these too often, but here we are. Justin Valentovic, Jesse Norman, Stephen Clark, Stephen Bologna. What's going on?
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
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 Hey. Nothing's going on, Justin. We are in a new year right now. We're in 2022. Holiday season is over. It feels good to be back on the mic talking some sports, and I'm doing well as always.
Yeah, we're only our second podcast into the new year, and it took me all of one to screw up the thumbnails of putting 2021. That was for day one, so had to fix that after I, of course, edited everything and got everything scheduled, and it's up by now. So thank you to Clark for pointing that one out, or that would have looked wrong as usual. So let's talk about Week 17, and before doing that, let's recap our picks, because we haven't done that in a long, I don't know what that little spin was. We haven't done that in a while just because life. So the last time we recapped was Week 14, which is, that's a while ago. And at that current time, Steve was in first with 156 points. Jesse was in second with 134. Clark was in last with 117, and I was in third with 118. Since
1, 2, 4, 3. Got it.
1, 2, 4, 3.
I went, because in the order I have them written down, it's Bologna, Jesse, Clark, me. So it was going in order until I got.
So you're already ranking this too now. You're already ranking the order to
well,
this is eventually going to be.
Let's talk about Week 17 standings. Winning the week was Jesse Norman with 17 points.
Oh yeah. Woo.
Clark came in second with 15. Me and Bologna tied with 14. So, not knowing the other scores, which I had to go back and tabulate up and tally and all that stuff.
That's annoying.
It was a bitch. It took about 2 days of me doing this because I had to go through and do everything. And of course, when some people would send some picks out of order, it wasn't in the same line as the NFL Network, NFL.com ones. So that made it a right pain in the ass.
You're welcome, because I did do it from the NFL.com
I know.
ones every week.
I did as well.
I
usually do it from ESPN because you don't send me the link.
There we go.
If you said, I've told you to send me before what other people have, and I will change the ones that I want. But you never do.
Because you shouldn't see other people's picks.
And you just send it.
The one that shouldn't see people's picks is Steve, because his
strategy, baby.
That's why for the podcast, when we do it, he's picking first every single one. Because
1 week left. Champions advantage.
Yes, exactly. So coming up the rear.
I can't wait to get him a Darius Guy shirt.
Yeah. Coming up the rear is myself with 159 points.
I'm not last anymore.
Somewhere along the lines, yes, Clark did indeed jump me because he has 160 points on the season currently. So he's got one on me. And then Jesse has 170, so 10 points. And then Bologna's at 189. So, but it is not locked up that Steve can win for the year, because Jesse would need a perfect week with a lock, which has never happened this year, to get 20 points total for
and I would have to blow every game.
Yes, and your lock. So it's kind of like how the Lions had a path to the playoffs up until like a few weeks ago, where they need 18 different outcomes to happen.
That's hilarious.
So Jesse could actually still win this.
So
but
even if I get my lock right,
if you get two games right, it's over.
Yeah.
Your magic number is 191, and Jesse has 170, which he can only max out at 190. But we're playing for pride at that point. So me, Clark, and Jesse could all jockey for position here and there. Actually, no, I don't think. Can I? No, I still can. So Jesse can still go from first to last. The best I can do is second, and same for Clark. So that's our picks.
As long as I don't come in last, I don't care. That's a win for me. Because I blew how many locks in a row and not coming in last?
Similar to a Ravens losing streak.
It's like 7.
Yeah, it was like 5, I think, was the actual number. So let's jump into Week 17. There are some games I actually want to talk about, and a few games that really aren't worth our time that we'll probably glance over towards the end. So to lead things off, let's talk about the Bengals and the Chiefs. The Bengals upsetting the Chiefs to an extent, let's say, 34-31 with a last-second kick to win it. And the big story of this is that Jamar Chase is a really, really good wide receiver, and he's a big play waiting to happen. It seems like every single play, as he broke the rookie receiving record in a game with 266 yards, like in Madden, basically, and 3 touchdowns. And Joe Burrow has basically thrown for over 1,000 yards in 3 games. So things are clicking for the Bengals right now. It's amazing how different they are from this time last year, obviously without Burrow because the ACL injury, to where they are now, winning the North.
We the North, baby. Woo!
Wow, Ben's not even retired yet, and Jesse's already celebrating another team in the North.
Oh God, I wish. I wish Burrow was my quarterback.
Me too.
But he's not. Burrow would be the best quarterback for probably
all of our teams.
Any of our teams.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%, without a doubt.
Trying to think of anybody. Yeah, probably. Yeah, the Bengals are good. And like I've said, I've been on that kind of bandwagon that they're good. They do have very inconsistent weeks for sure. But I don't want to think that this team is a Super Bowl contender, because I don't think they are. I think they still have some holes here and there, but they are showing a lot more promise than a lot of people thought they would have been last year. Well, the second year of Joe Burrow.
Zach Taylor's basically saved his job.
Justin's fired. Justin has fired Zach Taylor 37 times. Zach Taylor,
going back to my college days, I think I fired him a few times even back then.
Dude, Zach Taylor has been on the hot seat, and Justin has fired him so many times. So I'm really happy for him. And I am actually happy for him because he was just a Sean McVay QB guy.
Holding his cup of coffee for holding McVay's coffee, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, after the McVay Super Bowl run, where every single person who
got hired off that
Sean
staff,
McVay got a
at least an
interview at the very least. Yeah. Oh, what a time that was!
Yeah.
So this is a fun team, I mean,
no, they're explosive.
Burrow to Chase, just like at LSU. It's fun to watch. They got a good young defense. The one thing I will say, Jesse can attest to this, they still have such a battle offensive line.
Yeah, they need to throw
sacked quarterback in the NFL.
They need multiple assets to go towards that offensive line via free agency or in the draft this year. We get it. You got, his boy. It's working out fantastically. Address the O-line now, please.
The good thing is they're the Bengals, and they haven't made any trades or anything, so they have all the picks.
They have all the
Bengals
picks.
don't ever make any moves ever, so they just always have all of their first rounders. They just need to actually hit on them. And that's the only thing that you really should upgrade that you can think of in the first 2 to 3 rounds. I would say maybe you can get another player in the secondary,
and the joy of winning the North
D-line.
Yeah, probably. The joy of winning the North almost came crumbling down because, Burrow got hit towards the end and couldn't really go take a few knees to set up the field goal. But obviously he was dancing just fine in the locker room. So clearly they avoided disaster. But that should have been a sobering reminder that, we still have to protect our quarterback now too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. That's why he went down last year. Obviously no protection, no nothing. But no, I like this team, but I agree with Jesse said too that they're not Super Bowl ready. The team they did beat are 100% Super Bowl ready.
They could very well though take a team out in the early rounds, which right now they're playing the Colts, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But they could at least give a team a run for their money. I think they could flirt with a wild card win.
I don't know. I don't know. All the wild card teams are pretty tough. I honestly I don't see them getting past the first round. I kind of don't. It's just that offensive line scares me. And, if you run into any of these wild card teams, whether it's the Patriots, the Colts, the Chargers, they have solid D lines, and they're all those D lines are really, really good. And secondary is good. And, pressure leads to a rush throw and then interceptions after interceptions or just mistakes in general. So, I like the team. They are a fun team. I wish they would succeed, whatever, but I don't see them going too far this year.
Any last takes on the Bengals Chiefs? Anything for the Chiefs on this side? Because we really only just talked about the Bengals.
They're fine.
The Chiefs are good. Yeah. They played a good game here. They've been playing better. Yeah, good. Yeah, they're fun. They're still my pick out of the AFC, probably.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So let's talk about two of the better teams in the NFC, and that's the Cardinals and the Cowboys. The Cardinals got a much-needed win as they kind of hit a skid a little bit, in the month of December, and the Cowboys looking to jockey for some position in the NFC playoff picture. The Cardinals came away with a win, 25-22, and a useless stat is Kyler Murray is 8-0 in Jerry World going from high school to now. So if they ever make a Super Bowl in Dallas, Jesse's going to run to DraftKings, FanDuel, all those sports books and throw the house at it, basically. So, because it's a surefire bet they can't lose in Dallas. But good win for the Cardinals. And,
sounds about right.
Takeaway for me is Trayvon Diggs is
overrated.
Yes. He got all the picks. Awesome. But he's given up 1,000 yards already. And he was getting not burnt off the line, but definitely beat off the line by
he gets burnt.
A plus 30-year-old AJ Green who with multiple feet and Achilles issues. And he was getting beat by 5 yards at a clip. So definitely a little overrated in my book, but the rest of the defense is still pretty good. But the Cardinals got to win, and they're trying to right the ship and get some momentum going back into the playoffs.
Yeah,
they lost a lot of it.
Yeah, they lost 3 in a row before this game, so it's nice to see them get back on track. They're a good team. They're like you said, try to win the division next week. I think they have to win, and the Rams need to lose. I'm pretty sure, which they're probably not going to win the division, so they choke that away too. But at least they'll still make the playoffs. These are 2 good NFC teams. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked seeing either one of these 2 teams in the NFC Championship. I feel like either one of these teams could beat the Bucs. I don't know about the Packers because I really like what the Packers are doing lately, but Bucs seem a little bit more vulnerable as of late. We'll get to that though. But no, I like either one of these 2 teams going into the NFC Championship for sure.
So real quick on the West, Cardinals play the Seahawks next week, and the Rams play the Niners.
Ooh.
Both teams are home in that scenario, where the Cardinals are home and the Rams are home. That's a little
bold take. Whoever Arizona faces first round, they're losing. They're good, but if Kyler has a bad game, they have nothing. Have actually nothing. We've seen look at against the Colts without some of their best playmakers on defense. They got shut down.
And that's with the Colts not having really any playmakers on offense or defense outside of Jonathan Taylor. They were literally playing with a 3rd string offensive line, and they handedly beat them. Not handedly, but it was very stressful towards the end. But it was a convincing win still for the Colts on that game.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler's got to step up big. Hopefully they get Hopkins back. I mean, I think they're supposed to, but
they're banking on him potentially coming back.
Yeah, depending on the matchup they get first round. Right now, I think it's Dallas if it holds. So that'd be just a rematch back in Jerry World. So Jesse can.
Kyler's got to win.
Exactly.
Jesse can go to the sports book.
I did pick the Cardinals to win here too, and I didn't even take the Cardinals on the money line, which I should have because it was like plus 300. Stupid.
There he is.
My takeaway is on the Cowboys. The defense is very young. The offense is somehow like super non-dynamic, despite having the number 1 offensive line, 2 running backs, 3 receivers at all times, and a solid set of tight ends. And they just look weird. They just look like they're not that good. The offense has absolutely no
spark,
juice to it. Yeah. Spark, anything. Like they go out and they just kind of like go through the motions. They don't. And I mean, you could see it different in the playoffs. But I think Aaron Rodgers kind of got really mad about McCarthy for this. The lack of offensive creatism. They're just, you run the ball on first down. Whatever you want to call it. You big Hollywood words, Justin. You hand it off on first down. You hand it off on second down. You have 3rd and 3. You try to run a slant play, or you run like a flat. That seems to be what the Cowboys do pretty much every time down. And while I like their defense, and their defense is good and young, you can't rely on that defense. You can't just, Dak and the offense go out, kind of, do enough, and the defense will win that. No, the defense isn't that. They have some good playmakers. They're a playmaking defense where they can get the ball back, but they're not like the New Orleans Saints. They're not shutting you down at the line. They're not, causing you headaches on offense with their stellar defensive performances. They're still a young defense. So I have a lot of questions about Dallas going into this as well.
It also helps. It doesn't help too that
they're a Super Bowl team.
and we talked about it kind of multiple pods. Zeke is just bad. Like
and even as much as we love Pollard, I don't think anybody is saying like Pollard's a 3 down,
much better running back. Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want him to be your bell cow. That's not what Pollard's for.
He was for me in fantasy, and that's why I lost.
Who beat you in the playoffs?
You, bitch. Who won? None of us.
None of us.
So
your mentor,
hit it farther than you, Justin.
mentee.
Yeah.
Hey, man, last place right here.
Clark, you got anything else on this game or not?
Me?
Yeah, just hitting. You are Clark. Okay, cool. So let's talk about a game that stomped our hearts out. Raiders Colts. Colts lost 23-20 with a last-second field goal. And
don't worry, guys. I got this. It was Wentz.
Yeah,
it was Wentz. That's I got you, Justin. Don't worry. It was Wentz.
COVID Wentz.
He lost this game. That's it. I don't think there's any other way to put it.
3 specific plays, other than a multitude of just bad throws. The first quarter was a complete wash. They couldn't move the ball for anything. But the 3 plays where, one, he could have run for a first down and probably had a few to 10 to 20 extra yards after the first down, and he decided to throw crossbody to Mo Alley Cox over his head, that's amazing because Mo Alley Cox is, I think, 6'6", so that fell incomplete, had to punt. There was another busted play where T.Y. was wide open on the right side, on the left side of the field, easily had 40 yards, if not a touchdown in front of him. Wentz overthrew him by 2-3 yards, and then there was another third down conversion where he had to throw the ball, and Andre the Giant still would have had to have jumped for it, and Zach Pascal couldn't have gotten to it any more than he already did, which he was barely able to get his fingers on it, and they had a punt on that one. So those were 3 possessions right there that basically on Wentz's arm alone cost them the game. And post-COVID, Wentz, like, yeah, great, he was able to play because the CDC changed their quarantine protocols. But at the same time, just because they're changing their protocols doesn't mean the virus goes away and impacts you less within those 5 days. And it showed that he was definitely off.
Well, how detailed you go to the Colts ones compared to every other team in the NFL.
I watch
every week. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Wentz had COVID and it made him worse than usual. But that's pretty much it. I mean, the Raiders, good for the Raiders, honestly, because people were counting them out.
Needed this. Yeah,
they needed to stay alive. If they lost, they were done. I mean, good for them. I mean, everyone always counted them out, and myself included, because they always choke towards the end of the year, and it seemed like they're trying to turn it around and squeezing to get that last playoff spot. So good win for the Raiders, honestly. It took advantage of a team that's dealt with COVID the last week, and it obviously showed that the COVID affected this team, which it is doing to lots of other teams, and they got the fair and square win. So it's a good win for them.
Clemson legend Hunter Renfrow ripping Justin's heart out, which must have been tough to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Not the first Clemson legend to rip his heart out.
It's only been about the second. Thank God the third one hasn't.
Who's the first one?
Well, Watson.
Oh, Watson.
Hopefully Lawrence
is a Clemson fan.
Hopefully Lawrence doesn't continue that trend this week coming up. That would suck.
Might be.
Listen, Paris Campbell is back to practice, so you guys are good. You're set.
We're set.
He'll slip on ice again.
This is what I've kind of been saying. It scares me if the Colts go into a playoff game. Taylor can't get anything going, and it's on Wentz's shoulders.
These are the types of games you lose in the playoffs.
Colts defense is still good. Taylor's still a monster, but if push comes to shove and Wentz has to step up, I wouldn't be that confident. And he's been like that his whole career. I mean, not just as a Colt.
Other than the MVP season. Basically.
MVP, yeah.
MVP season, he got hurt before.
MVP caliber season, but yes.
First season, yeah. He got hurt before playoffs. I mean, we haven't even seen him really in the playoffs do much. So, I mean, I feel like if you have literally any other starting quarterback, like they make one of those 3 plays that Wentz misses. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's really tough with Wentz because the ceiling is so high, but the floor is also so low. Yeah. This is who he's becoming. I mean, he's not you can't say he's like
he's
young player anymore.
He's 30. He's not 30.
Yeah, he is. He's like 29.
He's like 20. Yeah. He's like 29 or 30. He's up there now. He's been in the league like 6-7 years.
Oh my God, he's 29. Yeah. Holy shit.
He's 29.
That draft happened when we were in high school. Oh my God.
Yeah. I remember that draft because everybody didn't really want Wentz around me. But then they talked about once they drafted him.
Yeah. Want to switch things up? Jesse, you got anything else?
I mean, that's tough. I really think you guys win with literally any other starting quarterback. I literally do.
No,
COVID.
It was.
It was COVID. I mean, hey, I'm not
because obviously we didn't do a podcast the week before. You saw what he did, what he had to do against the Cardinals.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Wentz is a quarterback that sometimes he will win you a game, and also he's like Brett Favre in a way. It's like he will win you games. He will also lose you games.
Close personal friend.
Yeah. So
close friend of the show.
Bologna. What are the few things that are guaranteed in life?
Death, taxes,
and the Jets getting fucked by Tom Brady. So that's what happened this week. The Jets easily could have won. They just had to kick or get a first down, and they decide to run a QB sneak with 4th and 2 on the Buccaneers 6-yard line. They miss it. They give the ball back to Tom Brady. He goes down, scores, and they lose 28-24. Good on the Jets.
Not to be the salt in the wound here, but today is the anniversary of when Belichick left the Jets for the Pats. So, and there was a streaker during this game. Justin, did you see that one?
No. Did our friend Mulder tackle him?
AB going shirtless in the end zone, taking an Uber home.
That's the biggest thing from this game. Yeah,
he went to Jesse's Nets game last night.
Yeah,
he did.
So
stayed in New York.
So he's claiming his ankle is hurt.
Yes.
And they asked him to go back out, and he said no because he was injured.
Yes.
I got to side with him on that.
I got to side with him too. 100%.
And I've always been super critical. I wanted to not like Antonio Brown.
He was doing jumping jacks on the way out. He was one flip away from doing a cartwheel, I'm pretty sure. You can't tell me his ankle was
There's
hurting.
a difference between doing a jumping jack and then getting your ankle running up on by a cornerback.
Pressure. No, I agree with Jesse. I'm with him too.
I know you don't know the route tree. We played Madden. I
do know weak ankles though.
But there's some you need some cuts.
Yeah, no, I agree, Jesse. I'm on his side.
You're the one who doesn't run your fucking routes.
What?
Justin, I'm way better route runner than you on Madden. It's not even close. Not even close.
I don't know about that. Clark, you can be the judge, but what you were saying?
No, I agree. If that's the case where he was hurt and they forced him to go back in, I'm on his side too. I wouldn't deal with that garbage. The NFL is a corporation. They just want your money. And he's realizing all that now. AB was right all along. I'm still on AB's side. I wasn't originally, but he was right all along. Look at Gruden now. Look at all that nonsense now that he was going against with the Raiders and all that. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with AB in the situation. He did the right thing. He walked off the field, threw his pass, threw his shirt in the crowd, and he left because he was hurt and he couldn't go back in the game. So, yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. I really no.
I also don't agree. Just because 3 days prior,
he's been such an ass everywhere he's been towards the end. Once he got paid in Pittsburgh, he became a pain in the ass. The whole ordeal in Oakland, then he lied about, all the allegations in New England when he got cut from Oakland, and then the fake vaccine card. It's like this guy has just been in a nuisance for the past 5 years.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But a player knows their body more than
I agree too. But
I agreed when Kawhi sat out. I'm not gonna change my viewpoint when I sat with Kawhi and said, if he doesn't feel healthy, don't go out.
But where has been the trainer to, verify that, saying his ankle was?
Why did he even suit up then if he knew he couldn't go?
I heard it during the game.
He played hurt.
Okay, but how many times have you seen a player get hurt or go to a trainer with a nagging injury, and then the trainer goes over to the coach and says they're out or they can't go?
The Bucs clearly felt that he could go.
But he felt
he felt that he couldn't. I mean, it's up to you. Do you trust the trainer? Do you trust the player?
Trust the actual person. Yeah.
I understand not
trusting. But just the way he seemed when he was jogging out and running around and literally waving to the crowd, trying to draw attention to himself while the Bucs were on offense. I just can't buy that. I simply can't.
But then what? Then why else did he do it?
He's a nut job.
He just didn't want the $1 million in incentives.
He's literally gone off the deep end.
No.
3 days ago, someone asked him in a press conference about the vaccine thing. He says, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about football because football is all I care about.
And that the media creates drama. Here he is doing this.
Because he's hurt. If Arians didn't say you're forced to go back in and he said, all right, take a couple drives off.
I think there was a better way to do it. Not throwing the pads, running across the field.
Yeah. We'll never know what the true story is here. We just simply won't. We'll just have what we saw on tape. And that was him running off shirtless, dancing in the end zone, basically.
Love it. I love it.
I mean,
fight the power. I like it.
Does it matter? Does it matter that much in the grand scheme of things?
No, it doesn't.
I don't think the Bucs were going to win.
I mean, it helps having him because Godwin's out for the year, but I mean, they can do without.
Yeah,
Brady makes stars out of nobody, so
that he do. Want to talk about Rams Ravens?
Sure.
All right, Jesse, this is your fantasy darling, Matt Stafford. Take it away.
The steal of the draft.
Hey, he was something. Clark, what place were you in?
Never said I was good. But Jesse in like the 7th, 8th round. Oh, Matt Stafford, bro! I got Matt Stafford. Look at him go, bro! I saw him throw like 5 pick sixes in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
the steal of the draft. Jesse wouldn't let that go.
Well, I only said it for literally like 3 weeks, and then you guys
up and running with it. Yep. But for me, Odell's been at least a productive target for Matt Stafford in the red zone since he's gotten there.
Again, wasn't his fault in Cleveland.
I understand. I'm just saying, though, he's been productive since he's gotten there.
No, I know he has been, and I
think he has like 6 touchdowns in like the 5 games he's been there.
Yeah, he's proven everybody wrong that Cleveland was the issue and not him. So good on his part. I'm hoping hopefully at home, he could stay and be productive as he once was as a Giant. Rams are overall a solid team, but again, they've been kind of fishy. They like Stafford's been kind of iffy lately. I mean, this Ravens team is banged up and whatnot, and you don't have Lamar, and it was a pretty close game overall. I mean, I don't know.
Rams had to come back to win this.
Yeah,
Ravens led this most of the way, and it felt like the Ravens were going to win this game. The Rams finally put something together towards the end, and luckily the Ravens stalled a lot of drives. The Rams really did get lucky with
if
this.
If they have
win.
Lamar,
they really did.
100%.
Oh, 150%. I don't even think there's a question about it. No doubt. But the Rams, they need to squeak out these wins. They already know they're in the playoffs. They're going to hopefully turn it on in the playoffs. They have a very interesting receiving group because while Cooper Kupp is really good, he's like a route runner. And Odell at this point is also a route runner. And then Van Jefferson is the deep threat. They don't really have like a secondary, like physical big receiver anymore.
The way they're
Higbee is like, has to be that guy.
But the way they all get open, you don't really need that because Cooper Kupp is literally breaking defenses, and he's
absolutely.
He's gonna flirt with 2,000 receiving yards, which would beat Calvin Johnson's record of, I think it was like 1964. I think it was
19 something. Yeah.
The issue is going to be on longer third downs, like 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, where they need extra time to develop. If you're running double moves constantly, you need your line to hold up. That's my only concern with Cooper Kupp and Odell is they don't have a big physical receiver now with Robert Woods gone. That's kind of my only concern with the Rams, though.
Yeah, defensively, though, they've been just fine. Von Miller he's made a few plays since he's gotten there. So at least the 2 moves of Odell and Von Miller definitely have been impactful for them. So the assets they gave up for him, well worth it so far.
And if you're a team needing a QB, I'd call about Tyler Huntley. See what it would cost.
Well, he's a restricted free agent, so they'd have to put a tag, like a 2nd-round tender or something on him. So he could be
He's
elsewhere.
Not just a one-game wonder either.
No,
he's done 6 games now.
Even though the Ravens have lost all the games he started, he's kept them literally within final plays of winning. If they
should have won a couple of those.
If they kick that extra point and force overtime, who knows if he touches the ball at the first drive if they win or not?
Yeah.
He's definitely shown something that he could definitely be on the move if the Ravens were smart. But who knows what they also do with Lamar? So they'll definitely keep him. Yeah, let's take a short break. Then when we come back, we'll finish up the rest of Week 17 because the rest of these games are, quality is definitely going down from here. So we'll be back. All right, and we're back in the second half of Week 17 of the NFL season. So let's talk about Washington
Let's do it.
The Eagles, where the best
coming.
hit on Jalen Hurts came after the game, after a few fans fell on him.
The only notable thing from this game
continues to fall apart. Heineke could have had a chance to win it, but he...
Did you say the team or the stadium? Because both would have applied.
Yeah, both are falling apart. Yeah, Eagles somehow ran their way into the playoffs. I quote said Nick Sirianni will be the stupidest coach. And then for a while, it seemed like he was flirting with that, where he was planting his seed and growing his flower and all that. And now they could be 10-7 and be a wild card team. And Jalen Hurts hopefully won't have to.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
No, I know, but I'm saying they could be 10-7, which what we thought this team was going to be to where they are now is completely different. And hopefully Jalen Hurts is actually able to stay in Philadelphia and they're not ready to get rid of him for whatever reason. I don't know.
I'll take him.
But Nick Sirianni was able to change from just running with Jalen Hurts to mixing in some nice passing RPOs with him, but also getting Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and the rest of the running game all together. And they ran their way into the playoffs.
Thoughts on the game? I mean, at least on the Washington end, they played well. They played hard to the end. Last play, kind of controversial. There was a lot of contact on John Bates at the end. It was a little bit of an overthrow, but John Bates is 6'7", so I think he would have been able to go up and get a hand on it at least. But nevertheless, Taylor Heineke threw an interception, and now he's going to be the backup next year. And they're coming out with a new name, so that'll be fun. The uniforms look pretty cool, and they're actually going to have a black jersey. They're going to have a black jersey and black helmets.
That's tough.
I am excited about that one. On Philly's end, I want to run through Philly's wins here. Open up the season against a mediocre Falcons team. They beat the Panthers. Okay. They beat the Lions, beat the Broncos, beat the Saints, beat the Jets, beat Washington with Garrett Gilbert, beat the Giants twice. Or actually, no, they lost to the Giants one time. Then they beat Washington again. Is this a team that we really think is going to make noise in the playoffs?
No. They'll lose first round, but they had the easy schedule. They took advantage of it. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, good for them. I mean, they'll lose first, but
I put them around the same level as like the Bengals, where we're pleasantly surprised of how well they played. No, the Bengals are still better, but I'd put them in the same competitiveness in the playoff bracket, where I think they could be competitive with the team, but I don't think, they go deep. Like they could shock a team. Like they could upset somebody.
The thing is with Philly, I think they're very matchup dependent. Like if the matchup first round is Tampa Bay, Philadelphia is getting this.
Let me take a look. Philly's is 7, and they would play the Rams.
They would play the Rams. I think they would also get stomped out by the Rams.
Yeah.
They'd have to play Dallas. Basically.
They'd have to play a team with a really bad run defense.
Dallas, Arizona.
That's really what they have to do. Arizona would work too. I think Philly could upset Arizona.
That wouldn't matter really until like the championship game.
It's still so sad though that more than likely they will explore a Deshaun Watson trade this offseason.
Yeah.
They for some reason don't want Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's because they picked them and they actually ran into something. And I don't know. I don't know what it is, but the organization is just not backing it. Like
I think hopefully they've turned a corner on that. I mean, I don't know how you can't after what they've done.
It's been nothing but productivity from Hurts really this season. He showed flashes last year. Like, okay, maybe there's something there, but he's shown that he can be a capable NFL quarterback. But I think coming out of college, how he was a runner, he's going to have the same stigma as Lamar does, where it's like, oh, he's just really a runner.
Yeah, and I don't buy into Philly saying like, oh, we drafted him to make him like a Taysom Hill, Drew Brees role. You took him fucking second round. You were planning something there for him to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the Eagles always preached about getting quarterbacks and having competition.
Depth.
Always, they were always obsessed with having multiple quarterbacks on the roster. Even going back years and years and years. Look at like after McNabb left, and they had Cobb and they had Vic, and they had to make a competition at literally almost every single year in their quarterback.
And Nick Foles came around.
Besides the Wentz years, besides the Wentz years. For literally like 2 of them.
Well, even then, yeah, exactly. The second half of the Wentz years, Foles was breathing down his neck because he just won a Super Bowl MVP and has a statue outside.
Yep.
But no, I really think they should just stick with him. They really, really should. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah. So, well, if he was to come out of college right now with everything you've seen of him in the NFL,
he'd be the perennial
you can't tell me he's
pick.
not the number 1 pick. Like,
yeah,
I don't. There's no quarterback in the draft right now. I think that you're gonna get that is better than what Jalen Hurts is right now. Maybe a couple of years down the line, you could have that argument of somebody else. But as of right now.
Also, it is cool to see. I mean, first off, Devonta Smith is a beast. It's so rare that we see all the first-round receivers actually work out in their rookie year. I mean, they've all really stepped up.
Yeah,
well, look at the class. Look at the class before them.
Jalen Reagor.
CD, Judy.
Yeah, but there's always that one that.
There's always the one. This one doesn't have that one.
Screw Judy. I'm sick of him.
Yeah, he's a little.
Just don't draft him.
Come on, Drew Lock started.
I'm taking him first overall next year. I'm taking him first overall next year, Judy.
Yeah, but no, there's usually a clunker. There hasn't been. They're all been productive this season.
Yeah.
Cool. So Bills Falcons. Bills won 29-15. My biggest takeaway is that Josh Allen played like garbage, and if he has this type of game in the postseason, they're getting sent home because he had 3 interceptions and only 120 yards. And for the love of God, they need a running game.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, Singletary was actually good this game too.
I know. I don't get why they don't use him more. Like, he had 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Use Matt Breida. Matt Breida is a dog still. They should use him.
Yeah,
they just elect not to. Is really what it comes down to.
They said, "Oh, Josh Allen can move. You run the ball.
You're good. Well, doesn't matter who's running it as long as someone's running it." It's like, no, nope, not how that works.
And the Bills, I mean, they're going to win the division. I mean, they got the Jets this week, so good for them. I mean,
they are.
They snuck it past the Pats late. Good. And they were down in this game for a while. Like, I was getting kind of scared. Granted, it was snowing.
So for the Pats to win the division, they need the Bills to lose, and they have to win, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So it's Pats, Dolphins, Bills.
I don't understand how the Matt Ryan touchdown wasn't a touchdown.
Oh, I know.
He was like half of his body was in the end zone, and they're like, nah.
That was awesome. Guys. He put on the wheels for that.
Yeah, he put on the wheels.
Wheelies.
Cool. Wheelie.
Matt Ryan's still a good quarterback. I'm still gonna say that.
Whoever loses out on the Rodgers sweepstakes should go after Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
he'll look good in a nice Bumblebee jersey next year.
Rodgers is gonna look great.
They're already unretiring 12 for him.
I would probably rather have Matt Ryan than Carson Wentz next year.
I thought you were going to say Rodgers.
I was with Matt Ryan last season than Carson Wentz.
I agree.
I would rather have Matt Ryan than a lot of other quarterbacks still.
Wentz was like my third option of what I wanted.
You wanted Darnold.
Yeah, you wanted Darnold.
Well, no, it was really
Hey, I wanted Darnold.
It was I think my actual list was Stafford, number 1, Darnold, then I think Matt Ryan, Carr, and then Wentz.
I was Stafford, then Wentz, and that's it. Because I knew it was one of those two, and that's it. And I was right. But anyways,
ugly game. I mean,
what
are you? The Falcons.
Snowing up in Buffalo. It was gross.
Ugh. You ever been to Buffalo, Justin?
Nope. Haven't
My
been.
boy Bob has. People saw a couple years ago when the Jets could have made the playoffs if they would have beat the Bills.
Ooh, the Fitzpatrick interception at the end.
And the Jets lost. Yeah,
haven't been the same since.
Yeah, my boy Bob, and he was in Buffalo, and he was very depressed.
Did he throw himself through a flaming table afterwards?
But it was like,
would you ever do that?
No, maybe depends how much liquid confidence is in me. No, but Bob.
What about a normal folding table from like the top of a car to the ground, which is about like say 6 feet?
Depends what's under the ground. If we're on like grass, yes. Yeah, dirt. I'll do dirt.
I would do it.
Do the Colts play Buffalo next year?
Oh, Jesse. Also,
We need some
speaking of
content.
another receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, dog.
Yeah,
He's good. He's solid.
he's been playing very good.
Cool.
What's next on the agenda, Justin?
What's next up on the old list? Jesse's game.
Oh.
Steelers Browns. Big Ben's
Thank you,
swan
7.
swan
Thank you,
song
number 7.
out in Pittsburgh. Normie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he was going to beat the Browns one more time. I think that went without saying. Are the Browns going to move off Baker? I would.
I would
think so.
love to see that, honestly.
I would move off Baker.
Bring
And
in
while I'm saying I would move off Baker, I would absolutely take him in Pittsburgh. Or I think he would work in Washington. I think he needs a reset.
It's like
really
Wentz, where you
tough
just need
on
to
him
change
right
the scenery
now.
after a while.
The media in
They're killing him.
Cleveland, dude. They're like
They're
he's
acting
gotten
like
like death
they're
threats.
acting like he's like
Like,
Brady
they're-
Quinn, Tim Couch, like all of them. Johnny
I would say
Manziel.
even worse. I don't remember those guys. It's like Baker was good for a little bit, and then now he's like not.
Well,
and
'cause
now they're like so pissed
It seemed
at
like
him.
the
being
Browns
good.
fans expected. Oh, we got to the playoffs. Now get us to the Super Bowl next year. It's like whoa.
Seriously, they just seem literally like, okay, this is how things are supposed to go. We earned it. Give it to us.
It's
It's like,
this is also
you still
a team.
have to go out and win the games.
This is also a team with a garbage receiving core. I mean, Jarvis
for
is
sure.
Jarvis
he's
and
old.
nothing.
Peoples-Jones showed flashes, and then Rashard Higgins. I
Well,
mean, come
outside
on.
of that, it's just like, oh, you got 36 tight ends and a running back and Nick Chubb. It's like,
They
oh,
don't even
okay.
use- they don't even
Baker's
use him.
shoulders
and also they don't give
falling
the
out of the
ball.
socket.
They
Yeah.
also, this was insane. The quarterbacks coach, I don't know if it was this week or last week, I can't remember, but Colin Cowherd was talking about it on one of the shows. The quarterbacks coach literally talked about handcuffing Baker and how they've had to reel him in. Nick Chubb has had 5 first half carries in the past 2 weeks straight. He had 5 carries against Pittsburgh. He had 5 carries last week. How are you handcuffing Baker, but also not running Nick Chubb?
Well, that's like how the
Like,
Colts have
what-
been able to do as well as they have. They took the ball out of Wentz's hands and just said, Jonathan Taylor, go run, go insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're so worried about Baker and you think Baker stinks, why are you having him drop back when you have a top 3 running back?
Definitely for sure top 5 now. And especially like I'm not one to defend Baker, but I don't really like Baker that much. But he's hurt too. He's
Yeah,
hurt,
his-
and they're not
his left-
Yeah,
like,
he
they're not running.
separated his shoulder like 6 weeks
And
ago.
it's like,
and kudos to him for continuing to play.
But it's like, yeah, I get it. It's not his throwing shoulder, but it's like when he's still getting drilled into the ground.
it hurts.
It hurts. Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
They shut
they're
him down
not
this
running
week.
and they don't give it to
thankfully.
their top 5 league running back. Like,
And thankfully for him, they shut it down so he can get surgery soon and just kind of, speed up the recovery process because.
But he needed that surgery weeks ago. He
I know.
didn't do it so that he could play.
Well, that's
and
the
they're
thing.
treating him like crap
I know,
because he
they're-
played through a shoulder separation.
See, that's the thing. They're calling him, it's his fault for playing hurt. But if he wasn't playing hurt and he sat out the season, it's just Case Keenum, they'd be calling him a bitch for not playing.
Yeah.
The
I think
question is-
Baker, he's in a lose-lose situation no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, like people forget that when he came to the Browns, they were the worst team in the
literally haven't won a game.
3 years in a
Number one
row.
pick. Number 1 pick.
And
Didn't they have back to back or
obvious-
like 2 first overall picks? Wasn't it them back to back with Garrett?
they
and
also
him?
had 1 and 4 with
No,
Baker's
they're-
draft.
Garrett and him were different
They had
years.
Garrett in 17. No, yeah, Garrett in 17.
Get
And
17.
then Baker in 18. Yeah.
18, yep.
Because that was the Deshaun Kaiser year with
Oh.
Garrett.
Ugh.
The thing with the Browns is if you do get rid of Baker, who do you
What's your
get
best
that's an
option? What's
upgrade?
better?
Yeah.
Jimmy G.
Carr, really? Carr,
But even
Jimmy G.
but here's the thing: if you don't want to pay Baker $40 million, because that's what a quarterback is basically going now at this point, do you want to pay Jimmy G 35? Do you want to pay Derek Carr 35 to 40? Because that's what it's going to
I'd rather
cost
pay
either
Derek
way.
Carr.
I'd rather play Derek Carr than Baker, but not Baker than Jimmy G. I'd take Baker over Jimmy G,
'Cause-
but
or,
I'd take
like,
Carr
do you
over
really want an
Baker.
old Matt Ryan like for this team too?
No, not really.
They're not
No,
getting
not
Rodgers.
really.
That's guaranteed.
Well, yeah,
Like,
exactly, and they're not going to get Watson probably. It's
I
like,
think
what other
Carr-
options do
Carr's
they
the-
really have?
Carr's the
I
best they
mean,
can get.
my thought process honestly is with most teams in like the case that like Washington's going to be in, Pittsburgh, a lot of teams, if you're not set up for a win now team like Cleveland is, so they're in a kind of weird situation.
Where literally all you need is a quarterback to come in.
You kind of just need to keep drafting
and hope for the best.
I mean, like, I don't. Do you hold on to a guy like Baker and just hope to be middle of the pack every single year? And people are like, oh, well, the alternative is you're bad every year. Yeah, but if you're bad every year, at least then maybe you can get a quarterback who can flip things around.
But here's the thing, too.
Example, the Bengals being Joe Burrow.
Well, but here's the thing, too. It's like, but if they pay someone now, right, then they're going to miss out on the next quarterback because look at the Vikings, right? They've been handcuffed to Kirk Cousins for 5 years, it seems like, at this point. And it's like, oh, if you pay someone, you're going to miss out on Joe Burrow because you won't be sucking to get that low of a pick, or you're financially stuck to this quarterback. You're telling me if the Vikings, sucked and were in position for Joe Burrow, they wouldn't be a better team than what they are now with Kirk Cousins?
I think the other thing, too, that not enough people are talking about is when you look at this quarterback market in free agency, after Aaron Rodgers and then Jimmy Garoppolo.
Takes a dip.
Yeah, well, and after Jimmy Garoppolo, what starters really are there?
Is he a free agent, Jimmy G?
No, but they
right?
could opt.
Year,
the guaranteed money's gone, so they could cut him.
Yeah, so they can opt out, which he might request, especially after Lance looked good this past week.
All right, so let me the true free agent quarterbacks right now.
Oh, it's rough. Jameis is the best.
And he's he's got an ACL, so that you don't even know. It's Big Ben technically, Fitzpatrick, Dalton, Foles, Cam, Tyrod Taylor. We've already seen that once in Cleveland. Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco.
We're in backup territory now. Yeah.
Trubisky, Tim Boyle, and crap. That's your quarterbacks for the free agent market. So
all backups.
You got to be
mainly all backups.
But then it's like, also, are you ready to invest some form of assets into getting another quarterback where if it doesn't work out, you won't have those assets to cover your ass again then?
Yeah. It's really tough. I wouldn't want to be in Cleveland's position because they're in such a win now mode. And the other thing is, at least with Pittsburgh and Washington to a degree, they have a lot of young players they haven't paid yet that they don't have to pay for multiple years. So Washington and Pittsburgh can afford to throw 40, 45 million at a quarterback for a year or two because they don't have to pay Deontay Johnson, or Terry McLaurin's extension isn't for a couple of years. Antonio Gibson doesn't need to be extended for a couple of years. Najee Harris. So they don't have to pay those guys. Cleveland's already paying guys. Denver's already paying guys. They kind of already can't afford to spend 45.
Carolina's paying guys.
Yeah, you can't really spend 45 million.
Multiple quarterbacks.
You have to cut players down to get those guys.
So next season, you got Jarvis Landry's due $15 million. Conklin's due $15 million. Denzel Ward's worth $15. Hooper's worth worth $11. Garrett hasn't been paid yet, so that's
gonna be
wow.
He's gonna get TJ's deal. He's gonna get bigger than TJ's.
TJ's getting 28. TJ is the current biggest non-quarterback.
Garrett,
contract.
I think, will get 30.
Did they pay him? Oh, they did. Oh, the extension kicks in after the 2022 season to 17, 20, 13. Yeah. So they paid him a lot of money. So they're getting $25 million invested into Myles Garrett kicking in after next season.
Yeah.
So their flexibility is going to go down the tubes there too.
So they need to, if they pay Baker and it doesn't work out, they are screwed.
Yeah, effectively.
I mean, that's really the only way it goes. But looking at Pittsburgh, cool for them. Ben got a win.
All right. Yeah. So the rest of these games kind of fall off a cliff. So
just get through. There's nothing.
If you got any quick points, let's hit on them. If not, we can kind of move on.
Trey Lance looked good. He looked better than Jimmy G. He throws outside.
Whoa, can you wait till I fucking go down my list?
Talk about the Patriots too, Justin. How about the Patriots? they played.
Yeah.
Hey, how about the Bears and the Giants?
All right, Chargers Broncos 34-13. Chargers win.
Cool.
Chargers can win and they're in the playoffs. Good for them.
The Broncos, both their quarterbacks stinks. All their quarterbacks
hope Indy loses or
Drew Lock's really bad.
Or just, Oof. Packers, Vikings, the Sean Mannion show did not work out. We saw Kellen Mond. Why he didn't start, I don't know.
They don't like Kellen Mond for some reason. I don't know why. But
Mike Zimmer doesn't want a young quarterback.
He's got to go.
I think he will be definitely fired.
I think he's gone too. Good for the Packers are the best team in the NFL, and of right now my Super Bowl pick. So, yay.
The Seahawks put up a 50 spot on the Lions, 51-29.
They both stink, but the Lions stink more.
Finally finally working
Yeah,
out
I
and
mean,
staying healthy.
Yeah, is he healthy? I mean, that's really it. One note on Seattle. Just to put in perspective how bad their offensive line is, their highest rated offensive lineman is Dwayne Brown. He is the 27th ranked left tackle on Pro Football Focus. So they have bottom 5 linemen at literally every single position starting.
Poor Russ. That's why he wants
I saw something today too. Diggs, she's talking about PFF. He's the graded in PFF. He's the 153rd overall cornerback in PFF.
Yeah. He just gets balls thrown to him. That's all it is.
God.
That's all it is.
That's bad.
And he catches them like 11 times out of all the times they're thrown.
Holy
yeah.
Saints Panthers. This game literally had no importance whatsoever to the NFL schedule.
Honestly, I don't even remember this game. I really don't. Yeah, I didn't see anything. But
okay.
Taysom was back, right? Taysom.
Yeah, he threw the ball.
They both stink.
He's ugly throwing it.
Darnold played.
They've all played, I think, that game.
They all stink. They all stink.
Matt Rule's got his ass is on fire.
And they already paid him. They already picked up Darnold's option, right?
Yes,
so he's there.
Yeah. They're guaranteed, or if they trade him, they still got to pay the guaranteed, which is $18.5 million.
They're not trading him. Not trading him. Nobody will take him.
No one wants to. Yeah. And then Jesse was eager to talk about this game. 49ers Texans. 49ers won.
Trey Lance looked good. He threw the ball outside the numbers, something Jimmy Garoppolo never does.
Doesn't do. Yeah.
He literally never does it. Lance, I think his average yards per throw was like 10.6 or something. Jimmy G has like had that one time in his past like 60 games. Trey Lance, if he really does develop and this offense moves another step forward next year, they're going to be really good. They're going to be really good.
I agree.
So Bears Giants, this game was a dumpster fire as Mike Glennon negative 16 yards on the day with 2 interceptions, and it seemed like every time red zone,
right?
The opening play,
it
seemed like every time they went to this game on red zone, Robert Quinn was blowing his ass up in the backfield, as Robert Quinn has 18 sacks on the season, which
he's going to get paid.
If you told me that was going to happen, that would not have been on my bingo board for this season.
Bears franchise.
Where was he
franchise record?
The Bears, a Cowboy, and a Dolphin, and then the
Cowboy and Rams.
That's right. Is he a free agent at the end of the year?
Let me look. I have Spotrac up.
Because if so, he's going to get the Shaq Barrett treatment.
You think they tag him?
Definitely possible.
No. Like someone throws the house at him.
Oh yeah.
Kind of just like going off of their contract year.
No, Robert Quinn actually signed a long-term deal and is signed till 2024.
Good for him.
He's through there, yeah.
It kicks in $12 million after the season.
Good signing.
The Giants are so bad.
Yep.
They're
the second worst.
They have absolutely no fight. I'm so glad you said that, Steve. Can we talk about the fact that Joe Judge said in 2018 he was sure he was on a coaching staff that was going to get fired? The 2018 team he was on was the special teams coordinator for the New England Patriots, who won the Super Bowl. At their bye week, they were struggling. Hold on. At their bye week, when they were allegedly going to get fired, they were a struggling team, guys. They were 7-2. They thought for sure. His quotes exactly. They thought for sure they were getting fired, and then they turned it around and won the Super Bowl.
And reports have said like, "Oh, Judge is fine. He's coming back." I still think he honestly gets canned. Like,
for the sake of that team,
how do you look at your fan base and look at a coach that you've had for 2 seasons in a row and have gotten worse and said, "Let's run it back a third time"?
They beat Seattle. I think you're forgetting that, Justin. They beat Seattle.
But it's like you're probably gonna need a new quarterback. Daniel Jones' neck is broken. Your GM is gonna probably get forced to retire, aka dementia. Fired. And Joe Judge, who out of nowhere came up with a Southern accent like Brian Kelly when he's from Pennsylvania, and he sounds like he's from the Bayou. Don't know what that's happening there.
They got that free medium Pepsi though.
Yeah.
Which Steve actually, he called me with this breaking news. It was a state of emergency and he had to address it,
It was so funny.
Via a call, not just a text. Instead of, if you say you had
the one who calls everybody.
Go ahead, Justin.
Say you had 4 season tickets, yes. You didn't get 4 drinks.
Yeah, one.
You got one.
Yeah, one.
For
That's
the person
hilarious.
who the tickets are in the
Owns, like,
name of.
The name on the ticket got the
Yep.
drink. Yep.
Dude,
Horrible.
fountain drinks. I know that the fountain drinks that you get from a place literally cost a fraction of a cent.
Yes, because they pay for the CO2 that's carbonated with the syrup.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to bring up
the Giants
too.
were so
$300 season tickets up in the nosebleeds for a $10 soda that's worth 87 cents.
Pepsi.
That's so bad.
Joe Judge also said in that press conference, Jesse, that he has players formerly on the team call him weekly, wishing they were still on the Giants.
On the Giants.
And he has
Eli Manning?
pending free agents in his office daily, begging him that
Don't
they want
re-sign
to
him.
stay. That they
garbage.
want to stay in New York.
Who the hell is a free agent on that team?
I hope that Washington
feel like
sees
there's
his comments and just fucking plays with such a chip on their shoulder on Sunday.
I don't even think they need to.
No, they're gonna beat him anyways, probably.
They just lost to the Bears by
Better
like
beat Mike
double
Glennon.
digits.
No, Glennon's out. It's from Glennon.
Even
It's from
Chris.
again.
Oh.
It's from
Okay,
again,
you
yeah.
can't go to fucking Glennon regardless. Like, at least suck with him. At least suck with Fromm. At least say, oh, he's
Dude,
young.
you got to think Glennon has got to be such a good like QB room guy.
Probably.
He's he always has a job. Always, like everybody must like love him in the QB room.
Not that
He's
it,
such
like-
a
I think
good
he has the
Monday
worst
night
record.
quarterback.
He's like the worst record in history.
Not that
Long
it
man.
actively matters, but the Giants have $22 million on injured reserve right now. This
They
season.
also have like no cap next year.
Yes.
Barkley ran for 100 yards though. Cool.
Yeah, I benched him in my fantasy championship in my other league. That sucked. But anyways,
Oh God. What
let's
game?
get these other two done. There's nothing to talk about.
Patriots,
These two
Jags.
games.
Patriots just
50
manhandled them.
burger, second
Yeah.
50 burger of the day.
Yeah.
Glennon was in Jacksonville at one point. When the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
They signed him to replace, I think, Nick Foles.
Glennon is 6-25.
When you get the bag
in
from
his
what
career.
the Bears, was it?
Yes, when he was good with
Yes,
the after he was
Bears.
good with the
King.
Bucks, they had him go
For
to
like
the
a
Bears,
year.
and then they
They threw like what?
that offseason they drafted Trubisky.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
That's
I think it
right,
was like
that's
3
right.
for 40 they gave him.
Woo!
Yeah.
King. Oh yeah,
He was 5
Patriots
13 in
50
Tampa though. Like
Yeah, but
I don't know.
yeah, how he played down the stretches. Well, that's when the Bucks were just rolling out backups that were getting paid. McCown got paid like the next offseason. It was just Cole legend. But I don't have anything to talk about this game.
Neither of these last two. Titans are going to lock up the one seed. Is all I got for the last one.
And Vrabel, I think, is going to lock up the coach of the year with that.
100% deserves it.
Yeah.
They played with
Mhm.
83 different players this season, and to lose Derrick Henry and
to
be
get-
the one seed, that's
Rabel's such a bad coach, isn't
he's
he?
an
Justin?
idiot.
He's an idiot.
Stupid idiot.
Wait, Justin, you don't like Vrabel?
You don't know this story?
No.
Justin called Vrabel an idiot. Said
No, he
he's
called
like
him
a
the
terrible
dumbest
coach.
coach in the NFL.
The dumbest
Why?
coach, yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy.
Why? Because he
coaches
played a
in the NFL,
linebacker and got his
Justin.
head messed up a little. Why?
Also,
Why do you
he's
hate
a
Vrabel? I think he's a cool guy.
A little scary too for Miami. I mean, their biggest game, and Tua lays an egg.
Yeah, they choked and they're out of the playoffs too. So that's
34-3.
They literally just
Ugh.
choked their way out of the playoffs because they had a
What are you
spot.
doing, Justin?
You know how my computer is like busted?
Yeah.
It moved the slightest bit and my screen's black now. So good thing we're
Nice.
done basically and just kind of wrapping this podcast, but I effectively can't see anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many
So you
fingers
can't
am I
s-
holding up,
Yeah,
Justin?
you can't see
How
us.
many
I really
fingers?
can't. I literally can't see.
How many
No,
fingers?
my screen is literally black.
Hey.
Any last thoughts before we go into week 18?
Big week.
I just
Big
want to
week of the
say thank
season.
you to Big Ben for beating the Browns one more time and being
Who
the
do
only
you guys play
quarterback
next
I've
week,
ever
Jesse?
known. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be the
Raven?
Ravens or Bengals?
What do you mean you don't care? You have a shot
Maybe.
for the playoffs.
Yeah, they're
I
still
don't
playing
wanna
meaningful.
make it.
Why not?
Why?
They need
Could
to-
see
I want a
another
higher
big
draft
come
pick.
game.
Ben could come back for one more year.
One
Yeah,
more
in
year.
Washington, I
One
totally
more
agree.
year.
Dude,
One more
I
year.
don't know if I could be a fan. I really. If
No.
here's my quarterbacks that I
Oh,
won't
Big
be
Ben
a
is the
fan.
moral conundrum that causes you to question your fandom with the football team.
Listen, if they sign Big Ben, Fitzpatrick, or Teddy Bridgewater, I can't be a fan.
Why?
Dude, imagine if they just ran it back with Fitzpatrick. We're just like, nah, this.
I couldn't. I physically couldn't.
Well, they got a new name
Unless
with
they
black
drafted
helmets and
someone
black
first
uniforms.
round.
Isn't
Unless
it
they
so?
drafted someone first round.
Isn't it amazing how literally like Jalen Hurts nearly got killed in their stadium? They're like, new names coming out in a month.
Bro,
Like,
they had the
control.
sewer pipes break a couple of weeks ago.
They're trying to make
scissors were found on the field. What's going on there?
They tried to make the
field's
argument
been
that
terrible.
They tried to make the argument that the people were standing on like a wheelchair ramp and it did not have the weight capacity.
Nope.
That's what they said.
There was literally no ramp. It was literally
no
just
way. That's literally where he's walking.
Well, they say
Steve, was that the tunnel that Ryan Kerrigan stiffed you on?
No, it was not. That was what? No, that was the far. Never mind. But Washington's trying to say that's where like wheelchairs are supposed to be kept for handicapped fans during the game. This is an official quote. I'm not making this up.
No,
I believe. I'm
pretty
sure
sure Dan
literally...
Snyder will say anything.
Yeah.
Including walking around on his tiptoes so people think he's 6 foot.
I was told he walks around with like an entourage, like in other stadiums. Like he has the suits behind him.
Oh my god!
Brings Bruce Allen everywhere he goes.
Just sell the team.
I love when Bruce Allen said the culture here is damn good.
Yeah, for
man,
toxic masculinity. Oh god. Yeah. That's week 17. Bologna's probably going to win the pick, so he'll get a shirt. Now, here's the thing. Would you wait until the new name's announced to say?
I thought about this. But
He
here's the thing.
If we wait, we can't get a Geis one.
If they say the name, I could see them releasing the merch like 2 months later.
So that's fair because they need to make a bunch. Or
it should.
Shouldn't they have kind of already been? Yeah, it should have kind of already been made.
Well, did you see like the quasi leak that came out where like they had they did like promotional stuff with Rivera like holding the helmet and like in a reflection? It's like okay, that was probably definitely
it's literally just a fucking W. Like people are going
with stars over it. Yeah.
Oh really? I didn't see that.
The W is going to have.
I saw the stars one.
The stars are going to be over the W.
That's interesting.
So that's why it's probably Commanders.
Well, the name does end with an S. That was confirmed. So it's not Armada or Brigade. So
okay, good.
Red Tails is another option I've heard.
Genitals.
Show me your genitals. Hey, show me your genitals.
Well, we're done here. Clark, anything? Outro, intro?
Yeah, subscribe on YouTube, the Apple Podcast, the Spotify. The Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Sports Tech.
Oh, wait, almost got my screen back. There we go.
Sports DEPT Pod. Hey, welcome back.
Yep, it's gone.
We're gonna be doing more podcasts. I know we're gonna do a prediction for the last week of the season and then playoff podcast as well. So bunch of sports and stuff. So stay tuned to all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.